It is a case of runaway success. Tonight on the road to understanding, Moab relies on tourism for its economy, and over the past few years, it's really taken off. People who live there say that the business tourism brings is fantastic for the city, but it does put a strain on that small town. Lack of affordable housing and an overwhelmed sewer system are just a couple of the problems that the people there face. But the mayor says that the city is working to try and improve things.
And we're getting things done in the community, slowly but surely. Sewer plant, roads, pipes, the whole 9 yards.
News special Sean Moody has been in Moab for the past few days.
And he's learned a little about how nearby Arches National Park deals with the influx. Sean?
Moab used to have pretty clear busy and off seasons, but people who live and work here say it's pretty much year-round now. And all the buzz happening here in the evenings may have an effect on Arches National Park just up the road. A lot of the people coming into Moab are here to see Arches National Park.
You see that tiny crack in that front span? Yeah. That's actually an opening that goes all the way through.
Karen Garthwaite's one of the rangers here.
Oh, this is the window section of Arches.
She loves that people are interested in the park.
National parks are opportunities to get to know wildlife.
But said it does bring challenges.
But a lot of people are coming to national parks looking for peace and quiet, looking for a sense of solitude. And that is getting harder to find at a popular park like Arches.
They're working to improve infrastructure.
We don't get very much water.
She says the roads need a lot of work.
Natural processes like the desert and its weather have impacted our roads. Our roads are over 50 years old. They need to be rebuilt.
In fact, that's shut the park down at night most days of the week.
We're doing as much of the work as possible at night to minimize the impact on visitors.
When visitors do come back here at night, the park is concerned about the sky.
Moab does have a bit of a glow coming off of it. So our Friends Association has been in some really great discussion with communities about how we might work together to really protect that natural dark that we have for this area, because it is one of the things that makes it so special.
That's just the next challenge as this area continues to evolve.
The road to understanding continues tonight from San Juan County in southeastern Utah. It's been the focus of controversy after President Obama designated Bears Ears a national monument, and residents aren't happy about it. Here's news specialist Sean Moody.
San Juan County is more than 90% public lands. Only about 8% of it is private land, like here in Monticello and in Blanding. And that's kind of a concern for people who live here. Obviously, the Bears Ears National Monument designation got a lot of attention here in Utah and across the country. A lot of people in this area want President Trump to rescind that designation. And they also wonder how all the increased attention on their county will affect their way of life.
20 miles north of Monticello.
It's hard work out here.
I have to pump water here every day.
But rewarding.
There she goes.
Bruce Adams.
Okay, I'll go over and get that bale of hay.
Says he wouldn't have it any other way.
I love it. I love the land. I love the lifestyle.
He's ranched on these public lands for 17 years.
We're going to go up here a couple of miles to my feed yard where I have my hospital herd. Here comes the bell.
But when it comes to being a San Juan County resident, he's a lifer.
My family helped settle San Juan County back in about 1879.
After he retired from teaching, he became a county commissioner.
There's only 8% private property, or a little over 400,000 acres out of the 5 million.
A big portion of that land just became Bears Ears National Monument. The federal government said 1.3 million acres surrounding the two plateaus that make the iconic Bears Ears needed to be designated that way to preserve them. Adams and a lot of people here in the county are upset.
I'm against the national monument the way it exists right at this point. Is too big, it's too massive.
You hear that kind of thing a lot around here.
One thing that's been really frustrating with this Bears Ears topic is the misperception that we're ruining this place.
Brooke Pearson lives in the Blanding area. She says the vast majority of people who've lived around these lands are passionate about protecting them on their own.
I'm offended. I'm offended that you think that you need to come in and control an area that doesn't need to be controlled. There's already so many layers of federal protection on this area as it is. why do we need another layer on top of it?
Like, we respect the bears because of the bear dance.
Suzette Morris has a pretty personal connection to this land.
We have cemeteries out there, and I don't want our ancestors to be put in museums.
She's a member of the Mountain Ute tribe. She's not sure exactly how the designation will affect the land that they've had access to for a long time.
We all have a fight, and we all are going to continue to fight for this to be rescinded.
Wow, there's a lot of nice stuff to see here.
Some people, though, think the designation could be a success story.
Yeah, I see opportunity, and I like that.
Doug Whipple helps run the Peace Tree Cafe in Monticello. He thinks more tourism will help businesses in town.
When I moved here in '75, this population of this town's just the same. Yeah. And we could use more tourism. We could use growth. We could. Yeah.
But most of the people we talked with said a tourism boom is the last thing they want.
We want our little town here to become another Moab or Park City? No, we don't.
Jerry Murdoch runs a cabin rental business. He's concerned about all those visitors.
So when they say they have to do this monument to protect the area, the increased visitation actually decreases the protection. Now, you may get some cattle in around you here pretty soon.
Bruce Adams agrees. This area he ranches is desolate today, but he wonders what might happen tomorrow.
It'll triple or quadruple the amount of visitors coming. We're not ready. All right, there's nothing new being protected. It's already protected.
Now, as far as Bears Ears National Monument goes, no one's sure exactly where it'll go from here. No president has ever rescinded a national monument designation. That's something people here will watch very closely. On the road to understanding, I'm Sean Moody in San Juan County, KSL 5 News.
Now, the road to understanding has finally taken us back to Salt Lake. And tonight we're in West Salt Lake City talking with people about their concerns.
News specialist Sean Moody spoke to a man who's been trying to make an intersection there safer for pedestrians.
People who live here in Rose Park say they love their neighborhood, but they do have some issues here along 600 North. They say this intersection is pretty dangerous. In fact, someone was killed here not too long ago. They've done what they can to try and make things safer, but they want to do even more.
You know, we still have more work to do along 600 North. And
Blake Perez is pretty passionate about his neighborhood.
It's quiet, tree-lined streets, it's close-knit, and it's pretty established.
But quiet might not be the best word for this spot.
Walk or bike across the 600 North, it's terrifying. It's been a real dangerous intersection for a long, long time.
There's a plan in place, though. Improvements are coming. This is a design layout for the new intersection posted to the community's Facebook page.
Unfortunately, it was not installed soon enough. We had a recent fatality at this intersection, and it was crushing to the neighborhood.
To try to prevent something like that from ever happening again, the city will add new lights, a pedestrian island, and increase the sidewalk area. Blake says those are huge steps in the right direction.
So we're really excited about that investment. That's a safety feature that the neighborhood has wanted for a long, long time.
Now, the Rose Park Community Council is doing more to try and beautify the area a little bit. They've got a project set up next weekend where they'll paint a mural on the pavement of a nearby intersection. On the road to understanding in West Salt Lake City, Sean Moody, KSL 5 News.
We continue our Road to Understanding series tonight in a place many Utahns have never heard of, like Partoon, Trout Creek, or Callio. Those small communities out in far west desert of Juab and Tooele counties.
As news specialist Alex Cabrera reports, it's a beautiful part of the state, but living in such an extreme rural area with dirt roads in every direction, it has its own set of unique challenges.
Mornings start early in the middle of nowhere.
Just a minute, babies. Just a minute.
But even out here,
Come on, mamas, let's go.
there's plenty to be done.
Guys, today is not the day. You ready? They get milk twice a day, like any dairy animal.
Barbara Mum never thought she would become a goat rancher.
Willie, Tar Baby, and Electra.
But when you live in Partoon, well,
Cabernet, now don't kick me, honey.
you do what you have to do to survive.
We have all of the modern conveniences that anybody in town has. It just takes me 2 hours to get to town.
Partoon and the nearby small communities of maybe 50 people
I know that's Mrs. Hill. She generally walk every morning.
are surrounded by seemingly endless miles of dirt roads in Utah's West Desert near the Nevada border. It is peaceful and beautiful, but being so remote means making a living is tough.
We need some kind of a little industry out here.
There isn't a gas station, restaurant, or grocery store anywhere nearby.
Rural Utah pretty much has the same problems all over. The kids are leaving. There's nothing for them to come back to.
There are 2 schools here, an elementary and a high school with about 25 students total. This year's graduating class is 2.
What I do know is there used to be 150 kids in this school at one point, and now we're down to 12 in the high school. Kind of shocking coming out here the first time.
This is Daniel Kimball's first year teaching at West Desert High School. He moved here because, besides being a job, the incentives are pretty good, like housing for him and his family.
We don't have to pay housing or utilities, which is amazing. That was another one of the big draws. Utah Studies is for the junior high kids and the 6th grade.
Plus, he teaches lots of subjects like guitar, Portuguese, and gym class.
U.S. history is for the high schoolers. I've got 2 kids in that class.
He also says discipline is not a problem here, and all the parents are nice and involved.
I love it out here.
But even with agricultural and educational challenges out here, the biggest issue just might be water. Ranchers have enough for their animals, but Southern Nevada really wants it.
And it's been a long battle. We've been in this battle since 2004. So
Annette Garland has a ranch in Callio and is worried about the continuing fight with Southern Nevada's Water Authority, wanting to build a water pipeline.
there's not a surplus of water here. They build the pipeline, they take the water, it devastates this valley, and it'll be a few years, and then they'll have to go somewhere else.
So far, Utah's governor has sided with the West Desert community. It's an issue Garland feels like they've already won. But now, with Southern Nevada starting another campaign for the water, they'll have to fight again.
Well, I think it's important to know that a grassroots effort, you can succeed.
Back up! Back up! Come on, guys, you can't.
Even if they do, many worry about the long-term survival of their West Desert communities.
It's not a simple solution.
Mom says the handful of ranching jobs is enough to at least allow for some families to live here, but growth, she just doesn't see it.
We don't have to be a big city, but we need something.
It is beautiful and peaceful, but as always, challenging. On the road to understanding in Utah's West Desert, Alex Cabrero, KSL 5 News.
We continue our Road to Understanding project tonight in Emery County, where coal mining is extremely important to the economy. But things can be tough when coal production slows. News specialist Alex Cabrero visited one place in Orangeville that could be the future of Emery County's economy.
It certainly doesn't look like much from the outside.
We are new in Emery County.
But once inside, you start to understand this building houses hope.
I really like this place, and I really like this community.
Vahe Zanalian, originally from Armenia, owns 4 robotics and manufacturing companies.
There was a lot of other stuff to do before manufacturing. You know?
3 months ago, he moved them from Utah County to Orangeville in Emery County because he needed room to grow.
We have 45 patents. I have another 10 patent pendings.
Thing is, Vahe could have based his robotics company anywhere, New York, LA, even Silicon Valley, or anywhere in the world, but he chose Emery County for a reason he says is pretty important.
I grew up in a village, and I know how hard it is living in a place where there's no businesses, where there's no opportunity for people. A lot of people selling their houses and moving from their own house, and that's so sad.
And that's what is happening in Emery County after 6 coal mines closed in the past few years.
We understand that we need to diversify.
Jordan Leonard is Emery County's economic development director. He says robotics is perfect for the county, especially since a couple of years ago, local schools started offering robotics courses.
Things are going to technology and robotics, and the economy's changing a little bit. So it's perfect for our kids to learn that new skill.
Brian Bernard graduated high school in Emery County. Growing up, he figured high-paying jobs here meant having to work in the coal mines. But now, he's working for Vahe.
This is a whole new field that can open up a whole new industry in this area.
Currently, Vahe's companies are working on government drones, robots that will interact with humans, and machines that can drill, cut, and mill all in one. And they're growing, looking to hire close to 100 more people in the next few months.
And plus, we have amazing people here. They deserve to have nice living. They deserve to stay in their homes, you know?
Coal isn't going away, but it may no longer be the only option here for high-paying jobs.
When they are coming here, they know they're working for themselves.
On the road to understanding in Emery County, Alex Cabrero, KSL 5 News.
Right now, a lot of our youth, when they graduate from high school, can't afford to live here. That's the reason I left.
Our Road to Understanding series continues in Piute County tonight. Now, earlier today, we spoke to residents and the troubles that they face. One of their biggest issues is poverty. In fact, 40% of children in Piute are at risk of remaining in poverty as they become adults. But we found the Piute County School District is trying to change all that. They have started a program aimed at encouraging students to get a higher education. The hope here is that those students will come back to Piute and start a business, creating jobs and economic development. And it turns out the school district is also doing something unique to educate their students, Deanie.
That's right, because Piute is one of the smallest counties in the state. It also has one of the smallest school districts.
News specialist Alex Cabrero found out you don't have to be big to do what it takes to help your students, especially those who need a little extra help.
It's all there. Supplies, books, teachers, everything a student needs to succeed, Circleville Elementary School in Piute County has.
I've been here 27 years and I drive 45 miles to work every day.
Christy DeLang wouldn't do that for just any job.
Isn't it? Yeah, I think it is.
But she loves being a teacher here.
It's a great school district.
It's also a small school district with only about 300 students. That means student-teacher ratios are great, and kids can get that extra instruction they might need.
And we're going to go into lesson 3.
Something DeLang says has already made a difference with 10-year-old Cullen Waddington.
I see his confidence growing. Also, I see him interacting with his peers more.
But DeLang knows she can't take all the credit.
I'm just thankful that I have great administrators who think outside of the box and who are willing to take that jump and purchase Milo.
Yes, Milo, a robot.
I know what a robot is, but what do you mean you got a robot?
Erica Cardman is Cullen's mother and has no doubt the differences she sees in her son are thanks to 3 months with Milo.
Okay, let's talk.
Because he can connect with Milo, I can see him connecting with people a lot better now too, and it's been amazing just seeing that.
You see, Cullen is autistic, which often means not looking people in the eyes. That can make it difficult for teachers, but Milo is different, and studies across the country have shown that.
He engaged the autistic student 87% of the time versus the human 3% of the time.
And even though Piute is one of the smallest school districts in Utah, it is the first to give Milo a try. Now, yes, it does cost several $1,000s, but the superintendent says with some things, money shouldn't matter.
The individual student matters to us, and Milo is an answer.
It's your turn to be the leader.
Students play games with him on an iPad and, more importantly, learn from him, fully engaged. That interaction eventually transfers to humans.
I'm really excited to see where it brings him in the future and kind of help him improve.
All because of a small school in a small district with big ideas.
We're just kind of a little hidden treasure here in southern Utah.
On the road to understanding in Piute County, Alex Cabrero, KSL 5 News.
You're watching a KSL News Special, Road to Understanding.
Good evening and welcome from the beautiful Territorial State House in Fillmore, Utah. This is the symbolic start and site of our state. It's also the site of an important conversation that we are starting tonight.
Along with Deanie Wimmer, I'm Dave McCann, KSL TV and KSL News Radio. Simulcasting tonight, that's how big this night is, and we've got the world famous and great Doug Wright with us as well. Fast forward 160 years, now Utah with millions of people and lots of issues that I doubt the founders had any idea they'd be dealing with.
Well, can you imagine if they saw our day today? And this past year, especially nationally, has been so divisive. And tonight, here on KSL television and radio, we want to put that off to the side, all of the normal rhetoric, and we really want to focus on those issues that mean so much to each and every family here in our great state.
So together, let's start a more productive conversation. Let's come together as we get on the road to understanding.
And so we have this sort of tale of two Utahs.
I'm a mom, teacher, student.
We're the 9th most urban state in the country. It means, one, that we have urban problems. We're concentrated. We have 90-some-odd% of our population in a very small corridor.
They want to put over 200 homes down here. It's just too many people.
We have air quality problems.
And this is what's going into our lungs.
We have congestion problems.
It's impossible to get anywhere in a quick amount of time.
We have affordable housing problems. These are urban problems.
Do you really know me?
My issues.
Our concerns.
What you really have to do is find ways to create opportunity in rural Utah.
Yeah, we need some industry down here.
So rural Utah has agriculture.
And if we want to survive here, if we want to do what we do, if we want to have children, bring children in, you have to look to ways you can do things better.
Rural Utah has energy.
Coal mining is definitely not your grandfather's coal mining.
They have tourism.
This area is beautiful. You know, people come to see our beauty.
But I think you have to think creatively about how do we go out and invest in these economies. So what troubles me most is this notion that we have two different realities in our state.
We wanted to kick things off with a reaction from some prominent individuals in our state. And first of all, Richard Deegan is here with us. He is the research director with the Utah Foundation, the CEO of Envision Utah, Robert Groh, and we also, of course, have our Lieutenant Governor, Spencer Cox. And as you have thought about this program today, as you saw that opening, laying out some of the concerns we have in the state, Lieutenant Governor, what comes to mind for you?
Well, first of all, I'm so excited to be in my neck of the woods in rural Utah. As you can see, I dressed appropriately, but we're excited to have some others who maybe didn't dress quite as appropriately. But this is incredible, and I don't know that we've ever had a gathering quite like this here in central Utah, and of historic proportions. One of my favorite quotes comes from Judge Learned Hand, who said, "The spirit of liberty is that spirit that seeks to understand the minds of other men and women." And that's what KSL is doing. That's what we're doing tonight, is seeking to understand, to listen, to really get a feel for what's happening in our state, and to remind people on the Wasatch Front that there's a lot of us out here in rural Utah as well. And while we may be a little different, we have the same desires, the same hopes and dreams, and that we're all in this together.
One thing I wanted to start with is something we're hearing a lot about. Just last week, the University of Utah released research that shows 56% of the students who started, or teachers who started teaching in 2008, they've already left the profession within 7 years. They called that crisis proportions. So I want to ask this mother from Logan, Sarah Dutre, is that a crisis to you?
Absolutely. It's a crisis that our class sizes are growing and our kids are being taught by teachers who don't have the rich experience when we think back to the teachers we were taught by.
I want to talk to over here a teacher from Cache District. Roger, you have 37 students in your class and you have 34 chairs. So maybe you have some perspective you could share as an educator here.
Yeah, I walked into my class one day and I saw kids sitting on the tables in the back of the room. And so I went and borrowed chairs from another teacher's class, and then she came and borrowed them back for her larger class later in the day.
Mike, what needs to happen to keep teachers?
Well, a lot of things need to happen, but the crux of the problem is that we're just not getting people attracted to the profession like they should be right now, and there's a lot of reasons for that. They're not entering into the profession as students. We're not getting them into the university programs, but we're not getting them to stay over time because of salaries, because of workload, because of added pressure that's been brought onto the teaching profession.
In fact, Mark Huntsman from the state board, you have, I like the way that you look at teacher retention. You had 3 Ps?
Yes, the 3 Ps are pay, parents, and politics. We need to address those 3 issues, and maybe we can resolve some of these challenges that we're hearing about presently.
bringing those up are important. Another thing we're hearing so much about right now is growth. And no one is seeing growth like Alpine School District. Superintendent Rob Smith, can you share, I was in a high school there that was 1,000 students over capacity.
Yes, it's one of the primary problems we have. In the next 4 years, Alpine School District will grow over 5,000 new students. We try to provide a comprehensive high school experience, which is a challenge when you face a teacher shortage. This past year, we had over 750 new teachers that we hired into our district to deal with growth, as well as deal with teacher turnover, as you alluded to in one of your opening comments.
So you see the double-edged sword of that. Do you hear also from parents who are concerned about kids having opportunities when you've got 300 kids trying out for the basketball team?
Oh yes, we hear that from parents because schools are too large, but we also hear it where we have declining growth also in the district and programs that we're not able to offer.
So many people don't realize in Alpine there is decline. I want to work my way over here because in Millard, you're seeing some of the same challenges on the opposite end of the spectrum. You looked at your enrollment, Superintendent Styler, and saw that it was at the same level it was nearly 100 years ago.
Right, it was about 2,850 students in 1915. It's about 2,850 students again this year. And we raised some really good kids, but we'd like to find a way to keep them home.
That's what we heard at the end of that. You don't want to export kids. Principal George Richardson from Millard High, I was interested in your take on opportunities. Parents in big schools are worried that their kids will get lost. Your parents have the same concerns of wanting kids to have opportunities.
I think if there's a silver lining to coming to a small high school, it's that you can be involved in so many programs. If you're a parent who wants to see your child develop, mature, develop their skills, their talents and abilities, a small school really has that opportunity. You could get an opportunity for leadership service. You could be on the basketball team, in the school play. You could be in any program or organization you wanted to be in. It is the plus of a small school.
Let's start with Sylvia, where unemployment is much different where you're from.
It is a lot different. I mean, the state's unemployment rate is 3.1%, and ours is around 8.7%. And so we're really trying to work on diversifying our economy, and we're so excited that the governor has a charge to get 25,000 new jobs in rural communities, and we hope that we can help with that.
When you see us celebrating a jobs report up in Salt Lake City, what goes through your mind?
Do you know what? I haven't looked a lot of that because we're so hard at work in our own communities trying to get new jobs and, solve our problems. So, we're just trying to do our best and get jobs in our communities.
All right, thank you. Brent, what's working in your area?
We've got a lot going on in Juab County. The proximity to the Wasatch Front makes us a really popular place for incoming businesses. And we've been really, really busy. And one of our challenges, though, is infrastructure and especially water. Some surveys show that we'll have 60,000 people by 2050. We have about 13,000 now, and that water's got to come from somewhere. We have partnerships, of course, with CUP. We know that they're going to step in and help us when the time comes. Our commissioners are making great strides to solve that problem for us, but really, as we're going to grow the way the state needs us to grow, water is going to be a big issue for us.
All right, let me talk to a miner over here. Joe, you weren't in the mine today, but how many hours a week are you underground?
Well, between 30 and 40 hours a week.
In the Huntington mine?
Correct. It's the Castle Valley mine.
And how many are in your company with Rhino?
About 120 coal miners.
What, outside of just coming up for some fresh air, are your biggest concerns in the mining industry?
Well, we've lost a lot of jobs over the last 5 years. We fear there are more coming. We hope for the best, though. We can make a turnaround and keep the jobs in Carbon County.
Now, a lot of folks don't understand with mining, and you talked to me earlier, it's like you can drive a big giant truck right through the opening of the mine, and you're not like in the movies gasping for breath.
Not like the movies at all. Yeah, we drive pickup trucks underground. It's clean, it's safe. I don't mind being underground at all.
All right. If a fight broke out in this room, I would be standing next to you. One of the tough miners in Utah. Thank you very much. All right, from the governor's perspective, what are the concerns as we speak to rural Utah?
Yeah, I think one of the concerns that we have is, as our office works with new businesses that are looking to come here in Utah, the number one concern along the Wasatch Front is the volume of workforce that we have. As was mentioned, we have a very low unemployment rate. But in some of the rural, more rural parts of the state, the concern is around the skill sets that exist there. Not that they don't exist, but how do we market that, and how do we ensure that we're aligning those skill sets through education and with the business needs so that we can attract companies down to those areas and help businesses grow.
Good to have you here.